Hello, this is Seamus, N7MYW. Today I thought I would take a bit of a dive back into digital formats. The release of ICOM's brand new dual band Dstar radio yesterday made me kind of remember a little bit about what I have and what I use, and that of course made me pine for doing another video on the digital formats. Now it's been a while since I've done one. I believe it was last year in 2022 that I made a video about what I like to use, and the market hasn't changed dramatically, but there have been a few new introductions. The new ICOM that was released yesterday, which is a dual band D-Star radio, the ID50A, and then of course the new Yaesu mobile radio, the FTM 500, which is a C4 FM and Fusion radio, which can also be used as a Wires X node as well. Those two made me think about digital formats again and how much they play a role just in my own personal life. A lot of hams love to use these. They're very, very, very popular, and you can pretty much take your radio with you on the go if you have repeaters or a hotspot, which allows you to get on to the networks and be able to chat with anybody pretty much 24/7, any time of day. Granted, HF can do the same thing in a lot of ways, but we're at the mercy of the conditions and of propagation. So this is definitely a good way to get to be able to get out and to enjoy chatting with other hams around the planet. Now, these particular radios that I have here cover three different digital formats. Over here on the far left, we have this would be the Yaesu FT3, and now of course they also now have an FT5, which is very, very, very similar. There are some definite differences, but I have the 3, which I absolutely love. Then here in the middle, we have the Anytone 878 2 Plus, which is the newest version, which allows APRS receive and transmit. And then here is the the Kenwood D74, which I love this radio. I have a love-hate relationship with Kenwood right now, but I do have the D74 for the second time, and I really love them. They're all three great radios, and of course the Kenwood D74 does D-Star. Normally that is an ICOM thing, but Kenwood somehow got licensing to be able to use D-Star on this particular radio, and while I hear the rumor that there's possibly going to be a successor to this sometime this year in 2023, we just don't know. There hasn't been enough information, and Kenwood has really not been very good about coming out with radio gear for the last few years. So until I see something from them, this is going to be their main radio, and it's been discontinued, and it still costs a fortune to find them when you do. That just still kind of blows my brain, but it is what it is. That's how the market works, and that's how capitalism works. So all three different formats, and now I'm not talking about any of the other digital formats such as All-Star or any of the other links that allow you to get on in various ways, or M17. Those are a completely separate animal, but these radios give a little bit of a representation of what digital formats can be used. Now, all of these radios, of course, have standard analog FM. All of them have many multitudes of memories. The Anytone does DMR. I forgot to mention that. That's a DMR radio. And C4FM, D-Star. They all have very, very similar features when it comes to APRS. They all do APRS absolutely wonderfully. They're very sensitive receivers. When it comes to extended receive, now this is something a lot of hams don't necessarily care about. Some just want it for 2 meter, 70 centimeter, or whatever band that they're on. I love to listen. I love to listen to all the various bands out there. And when it comes to reception, these radios do a pretty darn good job of including extended receive. Now, the one who really takes it and gets the top prize is the D74. Now, the D74 has receive in all modes: AM, FM, wideband FM, narrowband FM, and sideband and CW, all the way down to 150 or maybe 100 kilohertz, all the way up to what, 470, I believe, megahertz. So you can actually listen to sideband on any of those frequencies. That's unique. There is no other handheld on the market that does that currently. That makes this one the absolute clear winner when it comes to that. And the receive sensitivity is very good. I can listen to shortwave one moment, turn to 20 meters the next, listen to CW or listen to sideband, and I could even hook this thing up to my phone through the speaker, and I can decode FT8 signals, RIDI signals through the speaker onto an app on my phone. It's just amazing what we can come up with. The Anytone has a pretty wide receive, although it's going to be everything from about 100 and I believe it's 108 all the way up, or maybe it's 116, all the way up to 470 megahertz. You do have the options of FM, wide and narrow, and you also have a DMR. So that will allow you to use this on some of your commercially held DMR systems as well as ham radio DMR systems. Comes with it. This one does not have aircraft. Not sure why, but that's okay. The other radios do. I do enjoy listening to aircraft, so it's kind of fun to listen to the aircraft fly in and out of this local area, and that would be the Portland International Airport, which is a rather popular destination. So it's a very busy airport. So this one will do DMR. Its receive is pretty good. It does, of course, do APRS, send and receive. Does a pretty good job of that. The GPS is not as sensitive, I would say, as either the Yaesu or the Kenwood, but it still does a really good job. Has space for 500,000 contacts, and overall, I would say for its price value, it's one of the best radios on the market. No matter what your preference is on where the radios are made, it's a good priced radio. It really is. And if you're just getting into ham radio, and you want to get into a digital format that is the least expensive to get into, I would say the two that are DMR, because of the amount of Chinese radios on the market, as well as, of course, the more expensive Motorola's and Kenwoods. Kenwood uses NXDN, if I remember correctly. So you can get into the digital world of amateur radio pretty inexpensively these days if you use DMR. The next one would be the Yaesu FT3, but they also make an FT70. Now the FT70, just grab it here and put it right here. The FT70 is very similar in the fact that it uses C4 FM, but it's considerably less expensive. In fact, actually, you can still get this radio currently at most of the ham retailers for right around $175. It's going to give you a wonderful receive. Nothing into the HF realm, but it will give you everything in VHF, UHF. Lots of memories. The software is easy to manage. Same with the software the software for all of these is really easy. Now, granted, there's a lot more learning curve for DMR because you have to set up a code plug and pretty much put all the frequencies in there unless you transfer something over. But all of these radios will work in the digital frequencies, or the digital modes, excuse me. I would also say when it comes to competing for extended receive, that focused a little bit more, that while the Kenwood has wonderful extended receive and is the king of all of these, that the FT3 and the FT5 have a receive that goes all the way down to 150 kilohertz. So you can listen to shortwave radio. Now, it does not have all mode, but it does have a quite lengthy extended receive. And you can go all the way up to 960 megahertz. So I can listen to local 900 megahertz ham. 33 centimeters is popular in the more metropolitan areas, but because there's commercial gear involved and not ham gear that's pre-made, it's kind of difficult to find a lot of those in sparser populated areas. So both of these radios are just absolutely amazing in their wide receive. When it comes to the digital formats, we're talking about, of course, Fusion and DMR and Dstar. If I had to pick one, only one out of all of these, I would probably pick Fusion. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, getting the radios is a little easier. There are a lot of Fusion repeaters out there. Just in my local area, we have 5, just for the repeaters alone. DMR would probably be my second, because DMR is also well represented. Now, whether you like Brandmeister or TGIF, whatever, there's always going to be something out there to listen to. There is more of a learning curve in programming it, but it has enough memories to keep you very happy. And I can take this pretty much anywhere and be able to get into the system. The Kenwood uses Dstar. Now I know ICOM is the Dstar King, and their ID52 is an absolutely beautiful radio, but there are some caveats with some of those radios. And I have not owned the 52, but I have played with it quite a few times in various locations. And I would say that while it's a beautiful radio, its lack of APRS is something that I don't like. I don't care for DPRS because it's not as easy to use unless you use it through APRS PHY or something else online. Analog APRS is the preferred mode across the country and preferred through most of the planet, as far as I'm aware. But the Kenwood is an amazing radio, but I have to switch my hotspot over every single time if I want to use Dstar, because we do not have a Dstar repeater very close. So if you want to use your handheld on Dstar here, and you don't have a repeater close by, it's going to be very difficult for you to get in unless you have a hotspot. My hotspot currently is either between Fusion or DMR. I do have a couple of nodes, a wonderful node that I can use through my friend Todd, KB7RQQ. Thank you, Todd. I use his node for Fusion, and I also can use his local 432 repeater to get onto the network. And I prefer to use Venture Overland. It's a Brandmeister talk group, 31655. Just a plug there for that. If you want to get onto a wonderful group that's usually pretty busy. We talk about everything about venture overlanding, ham radio, photography, a little bit of everything. So come join us. Talk group 31655, and we're also on Fusion and can get there through Dstar. Just go to the Facebook page of the website, and that'll show you the other frequencies. But these are the radios that I have that have digital capabilities. Am I going to get another one? Well, if Kenwood comes out with a successor to the D74 that retains most of the features, or all the features. This is a tri-bander, 2 meter, 220, and 70 centimeters. Absolutely amazing. It's just that its price was rather high. It wasn't that bad when it came out. I got this one I got my first one for $475, which was a great price for a tri-band radio with these many features. But things have changed. That's discontinued now. Parts are an issue. If the new one comes out that's the same thing and they keep the price good, I'll probably get one of those. On DMR, I'm good with DMR for a while because I also have an Anytones 578 mobile. Will I buy an FT5 over the 3? No, there's no reason to spend the extra money and buy it. But I gotta say, when it comes to the top tier HTs out there right now, and that would be the FT5, that would be the Anytone 878 2 Plus, and then there's the ICOM 52. I would say out of all of those that the 5 is the best value. Right now it's running $419, and for what you get in that radio, it's pretty darn amazing. So that's kind of an overview of the digital formats that I myself use. I find that there are just as many people on DMR as there are Fusion when it comes to what I hear on the frequencies. But here again, everybody's going to be different on their location and what they can and can't access, and whether or not you have a hotspot or have to use a repeater. That brings up a whole other video about repeater owners that have static talk groups that come through automatically, or whether you have to type in your talk group to get to it and then key up. It's a couple of different options there. But my local repeater for DMR that I use when I'm on the road allows me to just go straight to a Brandmeister and straight into Overland, or I can go to the Pacific Northwest Digital Group and I can go into their repeater and just use DMR through theirs, which mainly covers the Pacific Northwest and California. So many options. Is FM dead? No, FM is definitely not dead. Some metropolitan areas are doing very well with FM. Everything from 6 meters on up to 23 centimeters. But I admit, a lot of places that do not have a very large population center, or if they're out in the rurals, they don't have access to a lot of FM. And so it makes digital even more attractive, because then you can get on and talk to somebody almost any time of the day, 24/7. and there will be somebody out there. I just find these fascinating radios. So that's all I really wanted to do today, was to just kind of an update as to some of the digital modes that I enjoy myself. There are so many different YouTube amateur radio operators that are putting out videos on what they like and the various radios and how good they are and reviewing them. And I don't usually do too many reviews, but I kind of like to do an overview. And that's kind of what I wanted to do today. Will we have more digital options in the future? Of course we will. And as radios get more and more detailed and SDR comes into play, I think we're going to have a lot of exciting radios coming out over the next few years. But until then, these work really, really well. And I'm really excited about possibly Kenwood coming out with something new too. But either way, I'm blessed, and we're all blessed with what we have for FM, digital signals, HF. I mean, think about it. I'm going to move the camera. A radio like that. We've got the 7300. I still, to this day, love that radio so much. It's just amazing what it'll do, and it hasn't subsided. The ham market is so perfect in the way that it moves. I really enjoy how many radios that we've been able to enjoy over the years, and the prices have really stayed pretty good for the most part. There are some exceptions. Okay, that was enough of my blabbering for the last 15-20 minutes. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody who's subscribed. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. I didn't realize that anybody was really watching these videos much. So I thank you so much for your support and watching my videos. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'd love to get up to that 1,000 mark. That would be an achievement. And I would love to know if you've been enjoying the videos. Hit the bell icon for whenever there's a notification, and please give it a thumbs up so that the algorithm shows, hey, people are watching these things. Let me know what you think. Kind of what digital format do you like the most? What radio do you like the most? Just put them in the comments down below. So on that, I'm going to say 73 from Seamus and 7MYW.